Thank you, Laska Hirlock, and I want to welcome the Taoiseach to the House and to commend my colleague Senator Aaron McGreehan and Senator Niall Blaney for putting down this very important motion. And Laska Hirlock, last Easter marked the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Good Friday Agreement on April 10, 1998. The 25th anniversary celebrations provided an opportunity to reflect on what was achieved and what is left to be achieved. Former Taoiseach and one of the main architects of the agreement, Bertie Ahern, in his address to the Seanad last Tuesday, the 23rd of May, said, "In the human journey, anniversaries play a significant role. They serve as markers of memory, calling to mind an event, moment, person or group of people of significance to us personally or as a community. The exercise of recall serves many purposes: remembering, memorialising, honouring and reflecting. And it can also be a catalyst for renewal to resolve or redouble efforts associated with the person or event being recalled. Landmark anniversaries, like decades or centenaries, have even further significance in the outworking of memory. 25th anniversaries undoubtedly sit in that category of significance. Whether we are talking about the life of a person, a marriage or an organisation, or even a country, reaching the quarter-century mark has an impact of special importance to us. Making it to 25 years carries a certain status. It speaks of viability, endurance, resilience, staying power, and yes, Laska Hirlock, achievement. Of course, no human endeavour is perfect, but arriving at the milestone of a score and 5 years deserves to be acknowledged and saluted. Laska Hirlock, this evening I want to acknowledge and salute the roles of everybody involved in this historic agreement. And one of the main things we can celebrate, and Senator Fiona Loughlin alluded to it earlier, are the thousands of lives that undoubtedly have been saved. During the 3 decades of the Troubles, 3,720 people were killed. 1,533 of these victims were under the age of 25, and 257 of them were under the age of 18. 47,541 people were injured. There were 36,923 shootings, 16,209 bombings. Countless numbers of people were traumatised, and that trauma is transgenerational. The non-functioning of the Northern Ireland Assembly and Executive is a major worry, and Laska Hirlock, I would like to use this opportunity to call on the Democratic Unionist Party to take their place in the Assembly. I understand that they have some difficulties, but those difficulties can be ironed out, and major steps have been taken to deal with the majority of their concerns. But democracy should not be taken for granted. It's too precious a commodity. The statistics that I've outlined, the deaths, the injuries, the bombings, majority of those took place in the 6 counties, but they also took place on the island of Ireland, the rest of the island of Ireland. What none of us want to see is a return to that. And given all its flaws and failings, democracy is the best process, but it should not be taken for granted. In relation to the legacy legislation, and I too would like to join in paying tribute to you for your contribution, especially at the British-Irish Interparliamentary meeting in Jersey recently. You were very forceful, and you were speaking from experience, the experience of a young girl growing up in the north of Ireland. And I was personally struck by that, and I think your contribution should be circulated so as other people can read it as well. The UK's Northern Ireland Troubles Legacy and Reconciliation Bill is what it's called, if passed, would allow the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland to grant immunity for crimes committed during the Troubles. The bill is opposed by all political parties in the North and here in the Republic. All political parties in the North can agree that this is flawed legislation. The UK Government is failing to heed the overwhelming opposition to this bill and continue to ignore calls for the legislative process to be paused, the bill abandoned, and to commit to an agreed way forward. If that legislation is passed, the relatives of the 33 people killed by the bombs in Dublin and Monaghan in 1974 and the 300 injured will never get the truth. The relatives of Geraldine O'Reilly and Patrick Stanley, blown to pieces in Belturbet 50 years ago, and the 8 people injured will never get the truth. I want to finish on a positive note, and I want to commend you for your involvement in the purchase of 1,000 hectares of upland habitat in West Cavan, the Culca Lakelands UNESCO Global Geopark, which is the only cross-border geopark in the world. And I want to commend you for your efforts in that regard. I know that Brendan Smith brought it to your attention and Councillor John Paul Feely, but I really want to commend you. I want to thank you for the funding that the Shared Island Fund has given to the development of that geopark to date. We look forward to considerable amounts of money into the future to develop the rest of it as well. But there are so many things we can do together, so many positive things we can do together on the island. And there are faults and failings with the Good Friday Agreement, but we don't have time to go into here. But the main outcome of it was there are thousands of people alive today that wouldn't be alive only for it. Thank you.